Okay. Hello everyone. So I bring forward to you another set of videos which are totally not related to AI. In these videos I will not talk anything about artificial intelligence. If you see the title, it is theory in qualitative research. I am not going to discuss how to do qualitative data analysis using generative AI, but I am going to touch something which is very important for a doctoral student, if you are a PhD scholar, research scholar, current or to be, but there are certain aspects which in my opinion are not touched in a doctoral curriculum. So I want to make a couple of videos, this starting with this video and henceforth, where I will be discussing the very basic things about what do you do in research and what are its how to tackle the whole journey. In this particular video I am going to touch upon a very important term, that is theory. Okay, so theory, and that too theory in qualitative research. So let us see henceforth that in a doctoral journey, when you take, generally what happens is after your qualifying examinations some discussions will happen and you will say that I will be doing a qualitative research or be doing a quantitative research or something like a combination of both, that is called a mixed method research. Then somebody will ask, maybe your supervisor or your committee, which theory is going to use. A normal student will say any one of these, any other theory. Like if you are an OB student, you may say the self-determination theory. If you are a strategy student, you may say resource-based view. Or if you are other marketing or other areas, you may say the SOR framework I will use, or the technology acceptance model that is very commonly used in marketing and information systems. But what happens is we never understand what actually theory means or what actually theory is. What do we mean by the word to theorize? Okay, we never understand. Even after 5 years, 10 years of your completion of doctoral journey, most of us are not aware what does the word theory actually means. It is not explaining these frameworks or these theories, it is meaning something else. So let us see what does it mean in a very simple manner. Okay, without being too complicated, if I want to define what the theory is, what is theory? So it's nothing but simply stating a logical arrangement of constructs to explain or to describe a phenomena. Okay, basically the term that needs to be paid attention to is a construct. Okay, if you follow the next point, once you start reading more on the literature, you will start that the journey of this construct formation starts with a concept. Concept is a very loose idea. Okay, when this idea gets the boundary gets defined, it gets tangible in the sense, it gets limitations added to it, it becomes a construct. Okay, when its dimensions and attributes are added to the concept, it becomes a construct. So on this image that you see, it's a technology acceptance model, a very well known model, very simple one. I have chosen it. So all the boxes that you see, just ignore the connected lines. All the circles or that you see, maybe the perceived usefulness, perceived ease of use, perceived intentions and the behavior, all these are nothing but individually they are the constructs. Perceived usefulness is a construct, ease of use is a construct, intentions is a construct, as well as the behavior. When these constructs are logically arranged in a manner that help us to explain or describe a phenomena, then they become a theory, or we also say a model. That is what we also mean by theorizing. So now you see the arrows when are added to these constructs, that this perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use combine to form the intention to use the technology, because it's a technology absent model, and while that intention further leads to the behavior or the actual. Now each of these construct has its own limitation. Intention to use is not the actual use. Okay, similarly ease of use is different from usefulness. So each construct will have its own attributes, what it consists of, and as well as dimension, the range of values it can take, which when act in tandem leads to the explanation of a phenomena, which in this case being the technology acceptance model is, let us say, going back to AI, is acceptance of AI. Okay, so if AI has to be accepted, then it has to be useful, its ease of use has to be there, then the person has to have intentions to use, and then the actual behavior or the actual adoption or the actual acceptance will happen. Okay, moving ahead, now the thing is, as I started, there are qualitative, there is a quantitative or mixed method research. Now the problem is, people are well aware in quantitative, I will use some theory, I will build some boxes, I will connect them, and I will test them quantitatively. But there is a hell lot of confusion for qualitative research. Okay, in qualitative research, what theory means, how can we use a theory or an established theoretical framework? So for this, we have to understand very clearly that there are various approaches that differ how they use theory for qualitative research, and these range from approaches that build theory from scratch, in which simple language means you do not take any of the theoretical lenses that you are well aware of. You don't take TAM, you don't take SOR model, you don't take RBV or any XYZ model, but you build everything from scratch, from the concept to construct to the model. Then there is a continuum here where you use theory as a lens to analyze the qualitative data. And finally, the extreme end goes to do test or confirm the existing theory. Please don't panic and think that in qualitative research you cannot confirm or test. To a certain extent, with certain limitations, you can do use the qualitative research for testing and confirming as well. Okay, not going deep into that. The main point I want to bring in this video was this continuum. Okay, so I will be going very slowly, means for the today's we will not focus on the last two columns, means always the key citations you can refer if you want to go deep into any of these approaches, but our focus will remain on these four columns. With the approach column is what is the approach, what is its basic definition in case somehow coding happens if you are interested in it, and what is the output of it. Before going to this grid, just focus on this top layer. Now you will see if it goes from the green side, it's written purely inductive, to the right hand side where it is written purely deductive. Simply meaning purely inductive means that you do not have any existing theoretical lens. You do not use TAM, you do not use SOR, you do not know any XYZ, whichever model or whichever theory that you are familiar with. As you move from left to right hand side, as you move, you start applying theory in different degrees. As you reach the pure deductive end, in that place you are heavily dependent on a particular theory, that here I will use TAM. Whichever data comes, if I am doing a deductive thematic analysis, I will be very much bounded by a technology acceptance model, and whatever kind of analysis or whatever results I will generate will be heavily influenced by this model. Okay, but there are other models, as you see on the extreme left hand side, grounded theory, which I am already told that it doesn't use any theoretical lens. So each of these approaches have their different agenda for which make them suitable for different tasks. So let us see each one of them one by one. So the first thing is the grounded theory. Okay, so in grounded theory, you go to the field, collect data, you do interviews, focus group discussions, any Delphi method, whatever you do, but that data is not analyzed using any of the existing theoretical lenses. You think that something new is existing which has not been in the literature right now, I need to bring it. So if you see the definition, you let the data speak. New theory born entirely from scratch, no prior theoretical assumptions. Okay, just recollect, theory is nothing but a collection of constructs arranged in a logical manner. So here the data will tell the story behind a new theory. And this is how, if you go in a grounded theory, I will not go into much detail, but it starts with open coding, then axial coding, then selective coding, and then finally some emergent, iterative and constant comparison methods are part of it. Not part of for today's session, but letting you know, grounded theory, no theoretical lens, everything comes from scratch. Output comes is a new theory, that is substantive theory explaining a particular phenomena. That is step 1. Second is in line is the inductive thematic analysis. In this, your goal is not to generate a theory per se, but still you do not use a theoretical lens. What you do is you let the data speaks and the themes emerge purely from within the data with no theoretical imposition. You do not apply any theoretical lens. So whatever the data is telling, you generate the themes. So more or less the process involves is free coding, then the codes grouped into themes, and no prior categories are used. The output is a rich thematic description of patterns in a data in no preferential order or in no particular theme. Means you make a story what the actually data is speaking to you. You do not apply any lens. From here, this is where the transition happens, the theory in use. So basically this thing says that there is certain theory, there are certain constructs, they are logically arranged, but we have not brought them on paper right now, but they are regularly used by people or by practitioners, like the world resident practitioner overall, in their day-to-day functioning. So what you do is, unlike grounded theory and inductive thematic analysis, where you do not assume that and there is any underlying theory, in theory in use you actually assume that theories exist. It is even in use, but it has not been documented in literature yet. So here you will interact with practitioners, understand what is their implicit theories, with what are the constructs, how they are linking, so that the phenomena that you want to study can be explained. So again, briefly touching, the coding focuses on gaps between the espoused, what you believe, as well as actual practice, what they are actually doing. Is there a difference? And interviews, observations are coded together. So output will be a surface mental model and implicit theories. Okay. From here we move to the abductive analysis, theoretical thematic analysis, and finally the deductive thematic analysis. Last three of this set use theory in certain different degrees. So we are going to see that. In abductive analysis, what happens is you take a lens, but you are well aware that, or you have a hunch that this lens may not be that robust. Okay, you take a theoretical lens, suppose you go with technology acceptance model, but you are also keeping an eye open that the data may throw you some surprises, that apart from those two variables, perceived ease of use, perceived usefulness, there may be some other construct that the model has not yet captured, but it explains the intention. Okay, so you keep an eye open. So as you see, the definition is theory meets the data surprise. So surprise means that there is new construct that has not been documented yet. So that is a surprise element, and these anomalies drive new or extended theory construction. So the model gets built by this. This is the process that you do. Iterative coding moves between data and theory, find anomalies, surprises are flagged. Output becomes a new or extended theoretical model. Okay, either you completely banish it or you modify, add new variables to it, add new constructs to it, and you modify the model. Fine, I hope it's making sense. Next in line comes the second last one, is theoretical thematic analysis. So in the theoretical thematic analysis, what you do, you take one theory, a couple of theories, and you do collect your data, but the data analysis is heavily influenced by the theories you choose, with a minor eye open to some surprises, but majority of the data is influenced by the theory you choose. So theory acts as a lens. It doesn't act as a definite themes in which you will put all the data that is collected. You will not form buckets, but it will give you a guiding lens, that please pay attention to the lines which talks about something about ease of use or perceived usefulness, so and so forth. So theory acts as a lens, themes emerge as finding but interpreted through theoretical framework. Okay, the coding is guided by these lenses, and codes are not fully preset, so some new things can still emerge. So output becomes a theory informed thematic analysis. You can always have a disclaimer, apart from this I also found this. Vis-a-vis, in the contrary, the last one is the deductive thematic analysis. In deductive thematic analysis, what you do is the theory bounds the themes. Okay, data may be rich elsewhere, but it is deliberately ignored outside the theory. So if you are using one kind of framework, those constructs which are there already in that model, you will capture the data for those constructs only, and you will ignore everything else. This is where you try to test the existing theory via a qualitative study. That is, that existing model and the data are able to match or not. So the preset codes derived from existing theory data is coded strictly against predetermined categories only. So last means the output becomes, over this is a theory confirmed themes. Okay, so just to recollect, in this video what we saw is, we understood that what the word theory is. It is a logical arrangement of the constructs. Then what is theorization is. Then we went into the essence of what using theory in qualitative research means. We saw that there are a couple of approaches which fall under qualitative research. The inductive side, the purely inductive side, doesn't use any theory or theoretical lens, while the deductive side uses a theoretical lens. Within it, it's a continuum which ranges from grounded theory, starts with grounded theory, goes to inductive thematic analysis, then to theory in use, to abductive analysis, theoretical thematic analysis, and finally ends with deductive thematic analysis. I hope this video will make some contribution, a meaningful contribution in your doctoral journey or postdoctoral life, and I hope this this makes some sense to you. So thank you for your time, and I wish you all the best in your doctoral journey. I will soon see you in another video. Thank you. Have a good day ahead.